Oh boy, William got inside a cave during an archaeological expedition. There were 3 ways out, however, only one of them was safe. His map said that behind the first way out there was a pond that swallowed everything in. The second way out led to dangerous dinosaurs that would eat him alive. The third way out led to an erupting volcano. Which way was safe? The second one, because the dinosaurs went extinct many years ago. You're running away from a pack of zombies and come across 3 doors. Behind the first one, there's raging fire. Behind the second one, there's a lake of water. Behind the third one, there's a venomous snake. Which way would you choose? I'd recommend to choose the second one and swim away. It's just a lake. You can do it. During his vacation in the jungles, Aiden was caught by some tribe. They tied him up and said they'd push him into one of the 3 pits of his choice. The first pit was filled with zombies. The second one, there was raging fire. The third one was filled with huge pitcher plants. Which pit should Aiden pick? He should choose the third one. The pitcher plants only eat insects. They're not dangerous for people. Aston reported that someone had robbed his house. Detective Callum arrived and asked Aston to tell him what happened. He said that he walked into his room and saw someone getting out of his window. They must have heard him walking inside the house. Then he checked his desk and found that his money had been stolen. Detective Callum asked if Aston had touched anything else, and the man said he hadn't. Detective Callum closed the case and refused to proceed. Can you guess why? The robber wouldn't get out of the window without stepping on the bed. However, the bed was perfectly made, and Aston said he hadn't touched it. It means there was no robber. Waverly was an archaeologist looking for a pirate treasure. In one of the caves on a deserted island, she finally found it. There were 3 chests, and one of them was filled with gold and gems. However, if she picked one of the wrong chests, terrible things would happen to her. Luckily, there were statements on each of them, but only one of these statements was true. 1. The treasure is in this chest. 2. The treasure isn't in this chest. 3. The treasure isn't in chest number 1. Which of the chests has the treasure? Let's solve it step by step. If the first statement is true, then the treasure must be in the first chest, and the other statements must be false. In this case, the second statement is also correct, so that was a wrong guess. If the second statement is true, then the treasure isn't in the first chest. The treasure isn't in the second chest either, just like it says. Then it must be in the third one. However, this makes the third statement correct too, although it shouldn't be. If the third statement is true, then from the first statement that is wrong, you can conclude that there's no treasure in the first chest. Since the second one is wrong too, then the treasure must be there. Now there's no contradictions, and the treasure is in the second chest. Whew. Does anybody else have chest pains? Just me? Yeah, okay. Skylar and Amelia are pen pals. Skylar said that her birthday was in winter, and Amelia said that hers is in summer. However, a couple of months later, they both had their birthday on the same day. Still, none of them lied. How is it possible? They live in different hemispheres. When it's wintertime in the US, it's summer in Australia, and vice versa. Mrs. Fitz came back from work and found that her favorite cup was broken. She asked her daughters who had done it. Katie said, "It wasn't me." Serena said, "It wasn't me either." Hannah said, "It was Serena." Mrs. Fitz knew her daughters well, and she could tell what happened. Only one of the girls was telling the truth. Can you guess who broke the cup? If Katie tells the truth, then firstly, it wasn't her who broke the cup. Secondly, the other two girls are lying. Serena is lying, so you can conclude it was her. But then Hannah is right, and that's a contradiction. Let's say Hannah is right. Then it was Serena who broke the cup, and Serena is lying. But then Katie is telling the truth too when she says it wasn't her. So Serena is telling the truth. She says it wasn't her, so you can trust her. And Katie and Hannah are lying. Katie says it wasn't her, so it was her. And Hannah says it's Serena, which is a lie. So Serena is the honest girl, and Katie is the guilty one. Hannah is just a liar. Esme was on her casual walk in the forest, and she didn't get lost this time. Here it was, her way home. But the other one was away to the witch's house. After a bit of thinking, Esme decided she had to say hi to her old friends and visit the witch. The witch said she didn't have a riddle for her that day, and Esme was free to go. But Esme had one. She said if the witch got it wrong, Esme would take her cat. Dear witch, imagine you're in a dark room. How can you get out? She mustn't imagine that. Spoiler, the witch got it and kept the cat. Next time, Esme. A police officer was walking in a neighborhood and stopped one gentleman. He asked him what the man was doing, and he said that he had just left his house to go to the grocery store. However, the officer didn't believe him and arrested the man. Why? Look, it's snowing, and there are fresh footprints on the snow that lead out of the window. House owners usually use the front door to walk out of the house, so this one must be a burglar. Bryce was a grumpy old gentleman who didn't like some teenagers walking past his house. So once, he decided to report them so they'd never be allowed to get close to him anymore. He called the authorities and told them that he was having tea on his terrace, and those teenagers threw a baseball at him. Luckily, the baseball flew above him. However, the detective didn't believe it had happened at all. Why? Take a look at the terrace. It's all made of glass. Bryce's place is right next to a window. If the baseball had flown right above him, as he said, it would have broken the glass. Thomas was collecting action figures. Some of them he got from his grandfather. They were super rare, and his collection of more than 500 figures was worth about $1 million. One day he came home from vacation and found out that his collection was stolen. Detective Callum was up for the case. There were 3 suspects, all of them were Thomas's neighbors. He said that the collection of action figures had been stolen and asked what they had been doing during the holidays. Sydney said that she was in the neighborhood. She was working, but had nothing to do with the figures. Mateo said that his grandma is staying with him, so he's always with her, and he couldn't find any room for 500 action figures at his place. Gideon said that he wasn't even in the neighborhood and had just come back himself. Who stole the collection? Mateo. No one mentioned how many figures there were in the collection, but he knew somehow. Samantha, a rich woman, found out that someone had stolen the money from her wallet. There were 3 people in the house: Malcolm, a cleaning man, Grace, a gardener, and Sebastian, a boy who walks her dog. She reported the case. The police took the fingerprints but only found those of Samantha herself. Still, they had the main suspect. Who was it? The main suspect was the cleaning man Malcolm. He's wearing gloves, and that's why he was able to do it without leaving any fingerprints. Annabelle didn't want to go to school, so in the morning, she went downstairs and told her mom that she wasn't feeling well. She said that she had eaten a bit of apple last night, and it must have been poisoned because she'd been feeling unwell all night. However, Mrs. Collins didn't believe her and sent Annabelle to school. Why? There's just one bite on the apple, and it's a fresh one. If Annabelle had left this bite last night, it'd be brown, but it was still okay, which meant it was fresh. At school, Sophie opened her locker and found an envelope. Inside, there was a calendar and a note asking if she wanted to go to the prom. However, instead of the name, there were just several numbers: 17, 2, 30, 25. Can you guess who asked Sophie to prom? The calendar is the key. You just have to find all the numbers and see what name the first letters of the respective months give you. So, 17 is circled in August, so it's A. Number 2 is in December, which gives us D. Number 30 is in April, so A again. And finally, number 25 is May 25, so it's May. Seems like the guy's name is Adam. Too bad there are 13 Adams at her school. Elsie walked into a party store to buy something. She learned that 1 costs $1, 17 costs $2, and 103 costs $3. She needed 22. What do you think she's buying, and how much should you pay? She's probably buying birthday candles for a cake, so each candle costs $1. She needs 22, which is 2 candles, so she'll have to spend $2. Now Bill was walking down the pier, dreaming about buying his own boat one day and going for a trip around the world. Suddenly, he saw a large, fancy boat filled with people. Then he looked again, but this time he didn't see a single person on board. Why? Let me give you a little hint. The boat hasn't sunk. The answer is because all the people on board are married. No single? Captain Sam invited Bill to join their party. Bill was very glad and went up to the deck immediately. Captain Sam pointed at 3 women on the deck and told Bill, "Meet my wife, Georgina." Can you tell which of these ladies is his real wife? This lady is wearing clothes similar to the ones the captain has, but that doesn't necessarily mean she's his wife. This woman's wedding ring is unusual and identical to this guy's ring, so she's probably his wife. But this woman over there, with no ring at all, has a heart-shaped tattoo on her arm with Sam's name inside. If you look closely, you'll see a similar heart-shaped tattoo on Sam's arm. Aww. Georgina went up to the guys and asked Bill a tricky question. What 2 things can you never have for breakfast? Have you guessed? Lunch and dinner, of course. They took Bill to the dining room, and he saw 2 tables with seemingly identical baristas, but there are 3 differences between them. Have you noticed them already? Here they are. Bill asked Georgina a question about her family. She answered this way: I have as many brothers as sisters, but each brother has only half as many brothers as sisters. How many brothers and sisters are there in the family? Can you guess? There are 4 sisters and 3 brothers. One of the baristas brewed delicious coffee for Bill, Georgina, and Sam. Georgina left her cup on the table and went to wash her hands. When she came back, her cup was gone. Who stole Georgina's coffee? This guy. There are lipstick stains on his cup. After dinner, Bill went to the bathroom and noticed a fish tank wall in the hallway. Suddenly, the door slammed shut. To open it, the guy needed a code. How can Bill unlock the door? There's a hint on the door, a yellow fish. Bill should count all the yellow fish in the water and type in this number. That's right, the correct code is 13. Bill unlocked the bathroom door and found himself in a weird hall with 4 doors. There was a TV and a small window there. The window was on the wall near the doors. It was too small to escape through. Suddenly, the TV turned on and informed Bill that he had only one chance to survive. He needed to choose the right door. 3 doors were fake, and only one door could lead him to freedom. How can Bill figure out which door is real? He needs to open the window. This will create a draft under the right door. Bill went back to the dining room. The waiter served 2 trays with delicious sushi. Can you see any differences between them? Here they are. After dinner, Bill felt sick and fainted. He woke up in a creepy castle. Sam's voice said through a loudspeaker, "If you manage to solve all my riddles, you'll leave this place with $1 billion. And if not, you'll stay here forever. First of all, open the door." Bill examined the door. It required a passcode. Bill didn't waste time and cracked the code very quickly. Have you guessed what the right combination is? It's 4784. Take a look at the wall. There's a hint. There are 4 flowers, and each flower has a specific number of petals. Bill found himself in a long, dark hallway. The voice said, "Here's the next riddle. Listen attentively. It can't be seen, can't be felt, can't be heard, and can't be smelt. It lies behind stars and under hills, and empty holes it fills. It comes first and follows after. It ends life in laughter. What is it?" The correct answer is darkness. As soon as Bill gave his answer, someone turned on the light in the hallway. Bill noticed 4 doors. It was extremely cold behind the first door. If he chose to go that way, he'd turn into a block of ice in a matter of seconds. There was an evil vampire behind the second door. The room behind the third door was filled with toxic gas that wouldn't let Bill breathe. And the fourth door led to a water tank with hungry sharks. What should Bill choose? He needs to wait till dawn and walk through the second door. Vampires hate sunlight, so Bill would be safe. In the next room, Bill saw a wall covered with this pattern. Can you help him spot the odd image and unlock the passage to the next challenge? Aha! Here it is. Bill entered the next room and fell into a 20-foot deep pool. The pool was empty, but in 5 minutes it would start filling with water. Bill was terrified because he was a bad swimmer. He looked around and noticed a 6-foot-long rope lying at the bottom of the pool. He also saw a 4-foot-wide wooden barrel and a 3-foot-tall metal safe. Bill was 6 feet tall. Can you help him get out of the pool safely? Bill should hold on to the barrel when the water starts to rise. It'll help him stay afloat and take him to the surface. Bill got out of the pool successfully and entered the next room. He saw this pattern. There's a hidden button among these images. Can you tell where it is? It's over there. Bill found himself in a beautiful garden. He needed to figure out which way led to the exit. Have you already cracked the riddle? Only the 5th path is free of obstacles. The next door had a 5-digit combination lock. Bill looked around for some clues. He found a piece of paper with 5 digits, 81169. But this code was wrong. Bill began to panic. But then he realized why the code didn't work. What about you? Bill was holding the paper upside down. The correct code is 69118. In the next room, Bill met 4 ladies. He had to choose a guide, but only one woman was a safe company. Can you guess who it is? The first lady doesn't cast a shadow. It means she's a vampire. The third lady has a vampire's bite on her neck. It means she'll soon turn into a vampire herself. The fourth lady has snakes in her hair. Therefore, lady number 2 is the best choice. The lady took Bill into a dining room. He found 4 potions on the table. Bill picked one of them. It was the right choice, and he could continue the quest. The first potion could make him invisible. The second one could give him great strength. The third potion would reduce his height to the size of a mouse. And the fourth potion would make him as tall as a high building. The effect of each potion only lasts 3 minutes. Which bottle did Bill choose to escape? The third one. There's a tiny door in the corner of the room. Bill shrunk himself. This way, he managed to squeeze through this tiny door and then return to his usual height. Bill entered a long underground tunnel. The loudspeaker said that the guy only had 1 minute to decide which passage to opt for. A landslide was coming, so Bill needed to choose quickly. There was a fire in the first passage. There was a huge cactus in the second passage. It was impossible to crawl past it without getting pricked. And there were venomous rats in the third tunnel. What would you suggest? The first tunnel. Bill can use this pile of sand to put out the fire. In the next room, Bill saw this wallpaper. His task was to find the spot with the secret button. It's slightly different from the rest of the pattern. Can you see it? Be careful. If Bill presses the wrong image, he'll have to remain in this castle forever. Here it is. And one more pattern here. Can you help Bill figure out the odd one? This one doesn't belong here. And how about this pattern? That's right, this image is different. Any ideas on how to solve this one? This guy doesn't belong here. What about this pattern? Can you see any odd details? Here it is. To open the next door, Bill had to use a code consisting of 6 letters. He tried to type in these letters, but it didn't work. Do you know the correct code? It's family. Bill found himself at the beginning of a tricky maze. Can you lead him through it? Here's the way. Bill entered the next room. His task was to guess which head was the same. Can you help? The second head is the right one. Any ideas about which head fits this picture perfectly? The fourth head is the one we need. What about this portrait? Have you guessed? The fourth face is original. Bill had been gone for quite some time. During his absence, someone stole his laptop with a script he'd been working on for 5 years. The police found 3 suspects. Bob said, "Bill is my best friend. Why would I steal his laptop? I'm not a criminal. I've spent the whole day with my girlfriend." Josh said, "I didn't even know that Bill had bought a laptop. Anyway, I've been at home all day." Rosie said, "I was at my parents' house the whole weekend. I got back just a minute ago." Who lied? Rosie. She said she had just got home, but it's impossible to make a fire that quickly.